Hello, boys and girls. I'm Mrs. Grill, and I'm the principal at Lafayette Elementary School. Today I'm going to read a book called Shark Lady. This book is a biography. Do you know what a biography is? A biography is the true story of a person's life written by someone else. Biographies tell a story about famous people or even ordinary people who have done exciting things. Okay, let's read our books and we'll find out who this Shark Lady is. Shark Lady, True Adventures of Eugenie Clark by Anne McGovern, illustrated by Ruth Chu. A very special Saturday. Wake up, Jeannie, Mama called. We have to go downtown soon. Eugenie Clark mumbled into her pillow. Who wants to go downtown on a Saturday? Saturdays were for climbing rocks and trees with Norma, her best friend. Saturdays were for digging up fat worms, bringing home bugs and snakes, making sure that Grandma didn't see them. Those were the good Saturdays. But today was different. Her friend Norma had to go shopping with her mother. Grandmother wasn't feeling well and needed peace and quiet. There was no place for 9-year-old Eugenie to be except with Mama at work. Mama worked in a big building in downtown New York City. She sold newspapers at the newsstand in the lobby. In the rumbling subway train speeding downtown, Mama looked at her daughter's sad face and wished there was something she could do to make Eugenie happier. Eugenie's father died when she was a baby, so Mama had to work extra hard to earn enough money to take care of the family. Working extra hard meant working Saturday mornings too. The subway train pulled into their station and they got out. A sign at the top of the subway stairs said, "To the aquarium." A good idea, Mama said. I'll leave you at the aquarium and I'll pick you up at lunchtime. That will be more fun for you than sitting around the newsstand all morning. Eugenie walked through the doors of the aquarium and into the world of fish. She walked among the tanks filled with strange fish. Then she came to a big, mysterious-looking tank at the back. She stared at it for a long, long time. The green, misty water seemed to go on and on. She leaned over the rail, her face close to the glass, and pretended that she was walking on the bottom of the sea. Eugenie went to the aquarium the next Saturday, and the next Saturday, and the Saturday after that. She went to the aquarium on all the cold Saturdays, the rainy and snowy Saturdays of autumn and winter. Sometimes her best friend Norma came with her, but often she was alone with the fish. Eugenie read about fish too. She read about a scientist who put a diving helmet on his head and went deep under the waves. He walked on the bottom of the sea with the fish swimming around him. Someday, I'll walk with the fish too, she said. In the summertime, Mama took her to the beach. Mama had taught Eugenie to swim before she was 2 years old. When Mama came out of the water, her long, jet black hair streamed down her back. Eugenie thought Mama looked like the pictures she had seen of the beautiful pearl divers of the Orient. Mama was Japanese. Mama was a good swimmer, and in the summertime, Eugenie loved to watch her swim with long, graceful strokes. Now, in the autumn and in the winter, Eugenie watched the very best swimmers, the fish in the aquarium. She found all the fish fascinating, the smallest fish glowing like tiny jewels, and the fish with fluttering fins that looked like fairy wings. But it was the biggest, streamlined fish in the aquarium that she came back to again and again. She watched the big shark swimming, turning, swimming, turning, never resting its long, graceful body. She watched it and lost track of time. Mysterious shark, she thought. Someday I'll swim with sharks too. 3 fish, 4 fish, more and more fish. Good morning, Jeannie. Great weather for fish, the guard at the aquarium said one rainy Saturday. Eugenie laughed. Hi, Mr. Walker. Are my friends here yet? Mr. Walker nodded. Oh, yes, he said. They always show up on rainy days. He watched the skinny, dark-haired girl go through the door. Friends, ha, he thought. Those good-for-nothing bums that come here to get out of the rain. Mr. Walker shook his head. Never saw anything like it. A bunch of bums paying attention to a little girl talking about fish. Inside the aquarium, Eugenie moved from one fish tank to another. A small group of men in dirty, worn-out clothes followed her. Hey, teacher, one man said. This fish has whiskers just like mine. Like the whiskers on a cat, too, Eugenie said. Maybe that's why it's called a catfish. See? Watch how it uses its whiskers to find food on the bottom of the tank. The men always called her teacher, half in fun. One of her secret dreams was to be a teacher like wonderful Ms. Riley, her favorite teacher in all the world. Ms. Riley took Eugenie's 4th grade class on field trips to the woods to gather moss, ferns, and salamanders. Eugenie hoped that they could come to the aquarium too. Ms. Riley had said she would like the class to see Jeannie's fish. Jeannie's fish. Jeannie's fish. An idea began to grow. And the next Saturday at lunchtime, the idea spilled out. Every Saturday, Eugenie and Mama ate lunch at a tiny Japanese restaurant owned by their good friend, Nabu-san. Today, Eugenie's mind was whirling with her new idea. Just think, she said. Some people have beautiful fish in their own home and watch them all the time. Mama, Christmas is coming soon. Eugenie crossed her fingers and made a wish. After lunch, Eugenie and Mama went to a pet shop to pick out the Christmas present. They chose a large aquarium with gravel and stones. They bought plants to make it look natural. They bought some snails to keep it clean. Then came the best part, picking out the fish. They chose guppies and angelfish, green swordtails, and black speckled redfish. Stop, Eugenie's mother laughed. I've spent more than I planned for Christmas. Just then, Eugenie saw a red-banded clownfish. Oh, Mama, could I have just one more? She begged. For my birthday? But your birthday isn't until May, Mama said. The clownfish swam to the front of the tank. It is pretty, Mama said. All right, we'll buy it. Before they left the shop that day, they lost track of how many years' worth of Christmas and birthday presents Eugenie had in advance. Before long, the small apartment was crowded with fish of all kinds. Mama became fascinated with fish too. Sometimes she would bring home little white boxes with fish swimming inside. When that happened, Eugenie knew that Mama had spent her lunch hour and maybe her lunch money in the pet shop. Eugenie joined the Queens County Aquarium Society and became its youngest member. She learned how to keep good records of her pets. She wrote down their scientific names, the dates she got each fish, and what happened to them. When some of Eugenie's fish had babies, hundreds of tiny wriggling fish filled the aquarium. Once Eugenie thought of going into the fish business selling baby fish, but Grandma said no. Trouble with Grandma. Eugenie's zoo grew. Besides hundreds of fish, there were salamanders, toads, and snakes. When Eugenie went to college, she was more interested in fish than in any other animal. But in order to learn about fish, she had to study all kinds of creatures. She learned how to dissect dead animals, which is the best way to find out about their different parts. Once, a friendly pet shop owner gave Eugenie a monkey that had died. She took it home and put it in the refrigerator so it wouldn't spoil and smell bad. That evening, Grandma opened the refrigerator door and saw the dead monkey on the shelf. She screamed and ran out of the kitchen. "No more dead animals in this house," she said. "Why doesn't Jeannie study typing?" she complained to Mama. Mama worried too. "Jeannie, dear," she said, "I know you want to study and work with fish to become an ichthyologist. But what if you can't be an ichthyologist right away? If you learn typing, you might be able to be the secretary of a famous ichthyologist." But Eugenie knew what she wanted to be, and so she went right on studying hard and learning about fish and other animals. Eugenie had learned how to skin a dead animal in the lab in college, but she felt she needed more practice. One day, the neighborhood grocer killed a big rat in his store, and Eugenie begged to have it. The grocer wrapped it up and she took it home. Good. There was nobody in the house. Quickly, Eugenie skinned it. Then she got out one of her grandmother's cooking pots. She wanted the skeleton. She would have to boil the rat. Every 5 minutes, Eugenie ran into the street to see if Grandma was coming. Then she ran into the house again and checked the pot. The rat was still boiling on the stove when Eugenie suddenly heard Grandma's footsteps outside. What could Eugenie do? It was too late to do anything. Grandma was standing in the kitchen doorway. "Jeannie, darling," she said, "what are you cooking?" Before Eugenie could stop her, she lifted the pot cover, peered inside, and saw the big rat's 2 sharp teeth. Grandma got very angry, and Eugenie was not allowed to cook in the kitchen again for a long time. Danger in the deep. Eugenie graduated from Hunter College in New York City. She went to California to go on with her fish studies and to work as a part-time research assistant to Dr. Carl Hubbs, a famous ichthyologist. In those days, people who wanted to explore the bottom of the sea had to wear heavy helmets with air lines that connected them to the boat above. Now, for the first time, Eugenie was going to walk on the bottom in a diving helmet. Before Eugenie could go in the water, she had to have lessons. She had to learn how to turn the air valve on the helmet to control the amount of air she breathed. She had to know about the signals that the divers used to send messages to the boat. 1 tug on the signal line meant, "I'm okay." 2 tugs meant, "Give me more line." 3 tugs meant, "Take up the loose line." And 4 tugs meant, "Danger, pull me up." And most important, she had to stay calm in case of an emergency. At last, she was ready. She climbed down the boat's ladder until she was up to her neck in water. Then, the heavy helmet was put on her head. She slid down the rope until her feet touched sand. She was really on the bottom of the sea. Silvery fish swam by so close. One fish swam right up to her helmet and looked in at her face. Once the sand moved under her feet and a flounder darted away. Everything seemed magical, even a clump of rocks. Coming closer, she could see that the rocks had holes like windows with lovely fish darting in and out. Colorful sponges grew over the rocks, like Hansel and Gretel's gingerbread house in a water forest, she thought. I wonder what witch of the sea lives here. She remembered the first time she went to the aquarium when she had pretended to be walking on the bottom of the sea. Now, I'm not pretending. I'm really walking on the bottom of the sea. She wandered along the sea bottom as if in a dream. She tried to catch some of the bold fish with her hands. Suddenly, she noticed that it was getting harder to breathe. She turned the air valve on her helmet, but it didn't help. Soon she was gasping for air. She opened the valve more and more until it no longer turned. Her head felt groggy. Something was terribly wrong. She started toward the boat as fast as she could, but her steps were slow. The helmet was so heavy. Now her breath was coming in short gasps. Her eyes burned. Her head felt numb. At last, she saw the bottom of the boat. Now she could see the line hanging under the boat. With her last bit of strength, she tugged hard. 4 tugs meant danger. Pull me up. But she could tug on the line only once before she felt herself falling. And as she fell to her knees, she thought, no, 1 tug means okay. I'm not okay. Not okay. Now water was beginning to seep into her helmet. Cold water that brought her to her senses. As fast as she could, she got the heavy helmet off her head and let herself float up to the surface. The men on the boat dived over the side. Strong hands reached out to her. Safe on board, she was wrapped in warm blankets and given hot coffee. What happened? Dr. Hubbs asked when she was rested. Eugenie told him about her breathing trouble. I kept opening the valve more and more, but no air came in, she said. A sailor on the boat laughed. I bet you screwed the valve the wrong way and cut off your own air, he said, just like a girl. Dr. Hubbs checked the diving helmet. Wait a minute, sailor, he said. Who was responsible for checking the airline? There's a leak in it. That means she was losing most of the air before she could even get into her helmet. The sailor's face turned red. Sorry, he mumbled. What a terrible thing to happen on your first dive, Dr. Hubbs said to Eugenie. There's only one thing to do. And that one thing was to go down to the bottom of the sea again. So, as soon as the helmet was fixed, down she went. And this time, as in all the helmet dives to follow, nothing went wrong. That's all the time we have for today. That is so cool that Eugenie got to walk on the bottom of the sea just as she'd always dreamed. What dreams do you have? Do you think they'll come up true when you grow up? I want you to keep reading the book on your own to see what other fascinating things Eugenie accomplished. Maybe she'll inspire you to do some great things. At this time, I'd like to thank the donors of the Lancaster Education Foundation for providing the funding to buy these books for you. Thank you. Don't forget, write your name on the book plate on the inside front cover of your book. Enjoy your reading, second graders.